can you learn a language fast? Today we will talk about it. Mi sembra che tutte le persone che vogliono parlare le lingue straniere semplicemente non sanno come iniciare. Обучить иностранный язык невозможно за один день. Nauka języka to nie tylko Duolingo y liczenie na cud. Para hablar bien el idioma necesitas mucho más que comprar un curso. There is more to that. Senin strategiaya ihtiyacın var. No one can give you a language. You have to take it yourself. A couple of weeks ago, I finished reading this book by Gabriel Weiner. The title is Fluent Forever, where the author mentioned this quote and it really resonated with me. This author is so right, because no matter how many classes you will take, no matter how many books for learning languages you buy, what you need to learn a language is effort. Effort can be divided into approach, consistency, learning techniques that work for you, and for avoiding distractions. Hi, I'm Veronica, and in this video we will talk how can you learn languages fast. I will explain how I learn languages fast and how can you take some of this advice from me and apply it to your own life. At the moment I speak 6 languages. My native language is Polish. I consider myself advanced in English, Spanish and Russian. I am conversational in Italian and Azerbaijani, and I'm currently mastering these too. I am only native in one language, Polish. The rest of the languages I acquired either by myself or with help of tutors, usually at school or online. I wasn't exposed to any of these languages by my parents or by living in a certain country or at school. No, until 18 years of age, I was living in Wrocław, Poland. When I was 18, I left to study in the UK, and I also studied 1 year at the university in Spain, in Valencia. But that's about it. The tips I will show you in this video are purely based on my experience learning Russian, Azerbaijani and Italian, as those languages I learned as an adult already, not as a teenager, and mostly by myself with my own techniques and over a shorter period of time. There is no secret formula to learning all of them. I always try what works best for me and constantly test, taking into account the difficulty of the language. So what makes me to learn languages fast? First and foremost, planning the time. Set time slots in your calendar. I cannot express how it helped me to learn in my learning process. This is super important, so I decided to make it a tip number 1. It can be 10 minutes a day. Just get your Google Calendar and put the time slots that you have available for studying. Set them. Let that notification come and remind you it's time to open that Italian grammar book or Spanish book or whatever language you're learning, and actually sit down and focus, even if it's watching a YouTube video in your target language, doing an exercise in your book, or doing some exercises in the app, or talking to yourself. Anything, just book your time slots in the calendar and study. Commit time and stick to it. Everyone is busy, everyone is working, so I understand that it's not easy to find the time to actually sit down and study. But you can do it. You have to start putting importance on your free time. For example, right now I am learning Italian and Azerbaijani. Italian, I give importance of 50% because I can already communicate in this language, and because I know Spanish, it's easier to learn, so it means I will finish learning it faster. Thanks to Spanish, it's way easier to remember the vocabulary. For me, when I reach fluency in Italian, I am satisfied, so I can focus more of my time on something else, like Azerbaijani, for example. For Azerbaijani language, I give my importance 25% right now, because not only my husband is from Azerbaijan, so I want to learn his language and continuously improve. But I am also just getting started. I understand many words, but because this language is so diverse and it's so different from any other languages that I know, I prefer to put more importance over another language that I can reach fluency faster, and then not forget completely about Azerbaijani, but focus less energy there for the time being. The fact that the words in this language, majority of the words have 3 letters, also doesn't help. Like, there are so many words that just the first letter is different and it's really confusing. So for this reason, I put more importance to Italian, because it's just more comfortable, more convenient for me to learn. There are more resources. For Azerbaijani, for example, I cannot even find a decent book. I've digged the whole internet and all the resources are for Turkish, not for Azerbaijani language. So it also makes it extra difficult to learn due to the lack of resources, proper resources. Another 25% of my time would go to personal development, like taking a course on editing or learning something about social media or improving my marketing growth or my Polish language growth, because as I mentioned that I'm also a tutor, so I am also taking external courses to constantly improve my teaching methods. So what I'm trying to conclude here is that the priority of your free time is not only for languages, it's also for other things. Maybe you have other hobbies. So deciding on the importance versus learning is very, very important for your growth. It will help you plan things better if you learn more than one language at once or work on something else, like school, for example. You get my point. You can easily calculate it. Let's say you work 8 hours per day, 5 days a week. We can calculate that alongside chores, you will have around 3 hours left in a day to do something. Decide how much % of your free time you are willing to commit to language learning. Is it 1 hour? Is it 2 hours? Is it 5 hours a week? Decide. Austin Kleon, in a book Still Like an Artist, once said that in order to find the time, you have to look for it. And of course, I couldn't agree more. It's very hard to find the time. There are always excuses. It's actually you that have to go and look for the time, no one else. Booking time slots in your calendar will help you get to fluency faster, reach fluency faster, as you will be developing a routine and spending more time studying. Tip number 2 is find the passion. Find the passion for the language or something that excites you about learning this language. If you constantly find excuses, it means it's not a priority. If you are one of those persons that only goes under different YouTube videos and says, this language is so difficult, I can never learn this language because it's so difficult, or don't waste your time. I had one influencer with over like 200,000 subscribers, followers on TikTok, that went under my video and said, don't waste your time studying Polish, it's useless, you will never learn it to fluency. Let the people alone. If someone wants to learn, they will learn anyway. You don't have to go under someone's videos and saying, hey, don't learn this language, just because you had such experience, just because you didn't commit enough time, you didn't prepare, you didn't give enough effort. I also have many followers that just go under my videos and say, I want to learn Polish, but then actually they do nothing after leaving that comment. And then they end up blaming the language for being difficult. The language can be difficult, but you need to find a way that will motivate you to study it, no matter the difficulty. If you truly love something, you will find the time for it. And despite all the difficulties, you will learn it. Even if you don't know how to get started, you will research, you will go to Facebook groups, ask opinions, browse online, buy an online course, order a book, just do something. Think about it this way. If you're craving a chocolate ice cream, you will probably go to the shop and buy it. Otherwise, the idea of eating the ice cream won't leave you alone. You will drive home thinking about the chocolate ice cream. You will be at work counting the minutes until the break time so you can quickly go and get that ice cream from the nearby supermarket. The same is true with a language. If you want to learn a language fast, you have to be genuinely interested and have something that excites you about learning it. Is it the culture? Is it the sound of the language? Is it because of your partner? Are you going to study or work in a country that speaks a certain language? There must be something that urges you to start. This will help you to learn a language faster. Tip number 3 is decide what learning style works for you best. This is a very important point, probably the most important one. You know, like there are so many possibilities. Is it a one-on-one lesson with a tutor? Is it a self-paced online course, or is it a group course in some country with another students physically, or is it a book, or is it an app, or maybe it's a mix of all? For me, for different languages, I develop a different approach. You can check my approach to learning Spanish in this video right here, but you need to find yours. Experiment and find those methods that work best for you. Do you learn better by listening or seeing? If you learn better by listening, then start with recorded sentences. Start to listen to recorded sentences or start to listen to podcasts. If you learn better by seeing something, then try flashcards. I will also comment on that later in the video. For example, since the Azerbaijani language has limited resources to learn from, I use some of the very limited YouTube videos, but most of my learning happens with my husband, who every day teaches me new words and phrases. I also supplement it with a short online course, self-paced, and I also use an application called iTalki. I will leave the link to this application in the description of my video. The app is quite basic and the material there is for beginners only. It focuses on teaching beginners mostly through ready phrases with pronunciation, but it's great for the languages that are not very common to learn. They have like a lot of different languages. So you can go and have a look. It's definitely worth these few euros to invest if you're learning a language that is not very common like Azerbaijani. Additionally, I do my flashcards and I'm trying to constantly talk with myself. Just make simple sentences. For the majority of my time, that's my style. Have a tutor, like one lesson a week, or a self-paced course if it's available, flashcards, series, and revisions and writing sentences. I mix it all. Tip number 4 is to get all-in-one grammar book. Here are the 2 books that I am using for Italian and Russian. These books cover grammar on like levels from 0 to B2, so upper intermediate. And they are amazing resources. You should get a book like this to learn grammar in your desired language. If you can't find a book that covers like from 0 to B2, at least get a book that covers from 0 to A2 and then B1, B2 from the same series, so that you can reach that fluency level within the same series of books. This is an example book that I am using for Italian. And it's just amazing because it has all the grammar from 0 on one page, and then on the other page there are like 3 or 4 exercises in regards to the grammar on the first page. And this way you can learn from 0 like all the grammar and follow up with short exercises, which is simply amazing. And this is the book to learn Russian for Polish speakers, which covers like all the grammar, all the cases. And it's perfect because it shows also the false friends within Polish and Russian. And it is the same concept. There is a grammar on one page and exercises on the second one. The next page is another grammatical concept and another exercises. It's just a spot on. Tip number 5 is to make sure you always disable all the distractions. We are living in a world of social media where we are constantly exposed to short video format, reels, TikToks, all of that content, an immediate dose of dopamine, so it's hard to stop. Short distractions make us unable to focus. We start scrolling, and once we are there, we get that fear of missing out if we suddenly stop scrolling. And shortly, we realize that the time slot that we booked in our calendar for studying was actually wasted for watching social media videos. At least this is what happens with me very often, and I'm still learning how to overcome it. But what really helps me is to just disable all the notifications, put that sleeping mode on your phone, put the phone in another room as far away from you as possible. Number 6 is to watch series and movies. This won't work for complete beginners. You need to know basic words, vocabulary and grammar in order to start watching series in your language. For Italian, since I'm already around A2 level, like upper beginner conversational, I tend to watch YouTube videos and stop every second and translate. Then I make sentences with the words I heard that were new to me. If YouTubers use certain words, it means they belong to 1000 most common words in a language. So more people will use them and a higher chance that I will understand 100% of my conversations with Italians in the future. I also use series with double subtitles using an application called Language Reactor. It's an amazing application. I highly encourage everyone to use it when watching series because it allows you to watch episodes of series for free with in two languages with subtitles in two languages. So let's say I'm watching Italian series on Netflix, I can have it with Italian voice and then with Italian subtitles, and underneath I can put, for example, Spanish subtitles so that I can see the differences in words and verbs and learn faster. Just pause it quickly and write down the new words. Series will help you get used to the language, get used to the accent, learn new vocabulary, and also wake up that listening side of yours. Actors in series tend to repeat certain vocabulary, so a higher chance they will be repeating it from episode to episode, so also higher chance that you will remember it. Number 7 is have fun with a language that you're learning. You can't treat language like something like a chore. You need to make it pleasant for yourself. There are various ways that you can have fun learning a language, like either by following meme pages or watching series or following teachers on social media that will daily provide you some valuable content that you can learn. So many people do it for free, so go ahead and follow those language teachers that are teaching you for free on social media every single day. When I was reading the book Fluent Forever, it was also mentioned that every resource is a rescue and you have to wrap your mind around it. I completely agree. To learn a language fast, you need to use all the resources available. And you have to have fun with it and wrap your mind around it. Dig deep to understand everything from the video that you're watching or the article that you're trying to translate. It can be anything. I would usually help myself with a Google Translator when I'm trying to translate a bigger article, but also I would check a dictionary called Contexto Reverso, which is amazing because it shows you the translation of a certain phrase or word in sentences, so you can understand if the word that you're trying to find a meaning to, what it actually means in a sentence. And you get my point. You get the translation in a sentence basically. So you have it in context. Number 8 is talk, repeat. You don't have to be in front of the mirror when you speak. You can do it in your mind or just write it down. It all depends on you. So you can describe your day or make a simple dialogue or describe something that you're working on right now or something that you saw today. Imagine that you met a friend and you start to talk in Italian. How was your day? What you've been doing? What you will do? If you don't know, check in the dictionary. Contexto Reverso will work fantastically here. Will do a fantastic job. If you don't speak, how can you learn? That's why don't fall in the Duolingo trap. Only doing exercises from the application is not enough. You need to talk, you need to speak. And number 9, repetition is the key. I'm saying it as a multilingual person and as a tutor. Whatever you're learning, come back to it. I prefer to write new words in sentences and then get them recorded. Because later, when you're tired after a long day, you don't want to go to that grammar book and do the exercises, because we also have those days when we just come back from work after a long day and the last thing that you want to do is go to that book and do the exercises. These books are great when you have more time, like Saturday, Sunday, weekend, whatever day to spare, to actually sit down for 15 minutes with a fresh brain and focus on the new grammar structures and do the exercises. But I'm talking about days that You may not have any time at all, like you are going to work, commuting, coming back, and instead of looking outside the window or just driving and standing in traffic, you can simply play your sentences in your car or on your headphones and listen. This is also an excellent form of revision. In the previous videos, I also mentioned an app called Anki, but also I would like to mention an app called Quizlet, which is free and allows you to do your own flashcards. This is also an excellent way to revise because you can add words and with artificial intelligence automatically translate them to your language. As much as I prefer to write sentences, sometimes I also add single words into the app Quizlet, and then when I'm in bed I can just scroll and see if I remember the words. So let's wrap up everything that we said here. Learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. Let's be clear here about that. But still, you can speed up your learning process. As much as you can't be guaranteed to learn a language in 24 hours, a week or a month, as some YouTubers claim to have done here, you can force your brain to memorize words faster and achieve fluency in a shorter period. You only need the right strategy and planning. With the right passion and with learning the language as a form of entertainment, you will see results faster. Stop thinking about learning a language as a chore or homework. It just won't work. Instead, talk with yourself a lot, construct different sentences in your head, get a great grammar book to learn grammar as well on the side, and revise in a way that makes sense for you. Finally, at all costs, avoid distractions and decide about your strategy. Will you be having 1 time or 2 times per week a lesson online with a tutor? Maybe in a group. Maybe you will invest in an online course that is step-by-step with support and community of students just like you. Or maybe you're okay with only learning with YouTube and support it with applications. Do you like to listen to the sentences? Do you like to listen to podcasts? Maybe you prefer to write what you learn after every study session. Find a strategy that works best for you and stick to it. Anyone can learn a language no matter how difficult it is, but the result depends on you and your actions.